Who holds the title for fastest self-made billionaire in history? Unlike Warren Buffett, who took 55 years to join the Billionaires Club, Jay Walker achieved this feat in less than a year. Walker's launch of Priceline.com during the dot-com bubble propelled his net worth from zero to billions in an instant. However, this rapid success was not sustainable, as his net worth plummeted when the bubble burst. In contrast, Buffett remains at the top of the list and shows no signs of stepping down anytime soon. This is the kind of wealth that one should aspire to build. The realm of money is far from easy. It's a challenging, competitive, and cutthroat game. Failing to understand the rules can lead to inevitable failure. Unfortunately, many people work hard throughout their lives only to end up poor because they lack the knowledge of how to make their money work for them and generate future wealth. In other words, they lack investment skills. Consider this scenario. You have diligently saved money and now have an additional $1,000 in your bank account. This is quite an accomplishment, considering that nearly 70% of Americans do not even possess an extra $1,000 in savings. Instead of squandering it on yet another frivolous gadget or a pair of shoes that will gather dust in your wardrobe for years before being discarded, let's assume you decide to invest that money. But how should you invest your first $1,000? Should you venture into real estate or the stock market? Which stock should you purchase? Is $1,000 sufficient to begin investing? We will address all these questions and more, so be sure to give the video a thumbs up and let's dive right in. To grasp the concept of investing and its functioning, let's consider an example. Imagine you've worked tirelessly and saved $300,000. You have two options. You can flaunt your success by visiting a Ferrari store and purchasing a luxurious car, or you can invest in real estate, such as a house, and rent it out. By choosing the latter, you'll receive a monthly income of at least $2,000. If you ever decide to stop receiving this monthly income, you can sell the property and recoup your initial investment. In fact, your investment might even appreciate, allowing you to sell it at a higher price. This is how money grows over time. However, you cannot purchase real estate for just $1,000. It's not even sufficient for a down payment. Nevertheless, this doesn't mean you can't invest that $1,000 elsewhere and let it grow. The simplest approach is to deposit it into a savings account and earn interest. But you might wonder why the bank would pay you for keeping your money with them instead of charging you. The reason is that the bank takes your money and lends it to others at a higher interest rate, sharing a portion of the profit with you. This is the fundamental mechanism behind banks. The only drawback of this strategy is that the interest rates on deposit accounts are so low that they are not worthwhile. The highest rate you can probably get is 0.8% as of the recording of this video. So if you were to invest that $1,000 in a savings account, after 12 months you would only receive an additional $8. This is extremely low considering that the Federal Reserve targets an inflation rate of 2 to 3%. If your investment doesn't yield at least 2 or 3%, the real value of your money will decrease over time, meaning you can buy fewer goods with it each year. Now, you might be wondering why interest rates are so low on deposit accounts. Well, in general, interest rates are low this year due to the pandemic, which prompted the Federal Reserve to lower them. The purpose was to encourage borrowing and spending. However, once we recover from this recession in a year or two, the Federal Reserve will raise interest rates to 1, 2, or even 3% in our opinion. Consequently, the interest rates on savings accounts will also increase. You have another option available, which is to invest in government bonds. These bonds are issued by the government as a means to generate funds for supporting government expenditures. To illustrate, let's consider a scenario where the government needs money to construct a school but lacks the necessary funds. In this case, the government issues IOUs in the form of a security. This security guarantees that the holder will be repaid the principal amount plus interest by the U.S. government. Although this example is simplified, it highlights the main idea. Government bonds are influenced significantly by interest rates. Given the low interest rates this year, government bond rates are currently below 1%. However, 2 years ago, when the interest rates were high, government bond rates reached as high as 3%. Despite this, government bonds remain a favorable investment option due to their high level of security. It's important to acknowledge that every investment carries a certain level of risk. When lending money to the U.S. government, the chances of the government defaulting on its loan are extremely low. For the U.S. government to go bankrupt, it would require a catastrophic failure of the entire U.S. economy. This is precisely why U.S. bonds are regarded as the safest investments worldwide. Now, if your goal is to achieve higher returns, let's say 10%, 20%, or even 30%, you should consider investing in the stock market. For instance, just this year, Amazon's stock price has increased by over 80%. Google's stock price has risen by almost 30%, and Tesla's stock has skyrocketed by a staggering 721%. Yes, you heard that right. 721%. At this point, you might be wondering why anyone would invest elsewhere when the stock market offers the potential to double or even triple your money. The answer lies in the element of risk. When it comes to government bonds, there is minimal risk involved, making them relatively safe investments. However, when investing in individual companies, there is a risk that the company might fail or report negative earnings. Essentially, any negative news can have a detrimental effect on the stock price. For instance, if a company releases a product that fails to resonate with the public, it can result in negative headlines and a subsequent decline in stock price. Consequently, higher returns are accompanied by greater risk. While Apple is a well-established company with a lower likelihood of failure compared to Tesla, it also has less room for significant growth. This is precisely why Tesla experienced a staggering 721% growth this year, while Apple's growth was a modest 70%. Index funds give investors the opportunity to manage their risk in the stock market. It's crucial to assess your own risk tolerance before making any decisions. For instance, if you only have $1,000 left, risking it all might not be the wisest choice. If things take a turn for the worse, you could end up losing a significant portion of your investment. To mitigate risk, many investors turn to index funds. One well-known example is the S&P 500, which tracks the top 500 U.S. companies. By investing in an index fund, you essentially invest in these top-performing companies. While some of them may fail, others will experience growth. Looking at historical data, the average return rate for the S&P 500 since the 1920s has been around 10%. So when you purchase shares in an index fund, you are essentially acquiring a small stake in the top 500 U.S. companies. Here are my 3 favorite index funds: VOO, or Vanguard 500 Index Fund, QQQ, and an index fund offered by Invesco and Fidelity called Zero Total Market Index Fund. All of these funds invest in the same set of companies. Now, let's discuss how to buy shares in these index funds. The first step is finding a qualified broker who can assist you in purchasing stocks. In the past, this involved making phone calls and talking to brokers directly. However, nowadays, things have become much simpler. Brokerage firms have developed apps that allow you to buy shares conveniently through your smartphone. Some popular examples include Robinhood and Webull. To get started, all you need to do is download one of these apps, sign up, and begin your investment journey. This is a great starting point for anyone interested in investing. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Thank you for watching, and until next time, happy investing.